me see if I can't get this so that we can get you as well. Interview, add, camera. This one. That's good enough. So our people are going to be playing downstairs, and we've got you up here. So,
wow.
Whoops, this is not what I wanted. It's good enough.
It works.
So Doug, tell us about Joust. We did a pretty poor explanation earlier, but could you explain what they're going to be doing downstairs?
So is the game running? They're ready to go?
I think they're getting ready to start the first round. Garrett, get out of the camera. Maybe get Garrett out of the. Yeah. I think that they're starting it. They had some trouble getting the move controller synced up. It's always a bit of a hassle, those things.
Well, did they get my new the new build I sent?
Yeah, I believe they're playing on the new build.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like they're off. So you just want an explanation of the game?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Johann Sebastian Joust is like almost less a video game than it is some sort of weird digitally enabled playground game.
Sure.
So there's no screen, and it's played with motion controllers by just sound and full feedback.
Yeah.
So the original version was for the Wiimote, but the current version uses the PlayStation Move controller.
Yeah.
Which is somehow like the unknown dirty cousin or something of the, which is a shame because it's a super awesome controller.
Right.
But so what the deal is there's a light at the end of this controller, this LED light, and that's really cool because you can signal all sorts of information with this light. So the game, like, almost imagine you're like walking around with these candles, and if someone can blow out your candle, you're out, you lose, and you want to be the last player remaining. Of course, in this case, they're like almost digital candles that are motion sensitive. So, like, if someone ever comes up to you and like pushes you or your arm or like baits you into moving a lot, you hear an explosion sound, your light turns red briefly, and then it goes out, and you're out, and you have to kind of sit out the rest of the round. And again, you want to be the last player remaining. So the game is for about like 2 to 7 players, although I have a build that lets you play with 18 or more players. But the typical one's for 2 to 7. And yeah, it's just like this mixture of offense and defense. So it's like defense because you got to make sure not to move your controller too fast, not to let people come up to you. But offense because you may want to try to get other people out too. So you're kind of like holding your controller away from you, and you're using your open hand to maybe push people or defend yourself. And
you mentioned it's a 16, 18 player version.
Yeah,
I saw. We ran into people playing that up at PAX, which was just incredible. You guys had room in the queue room.
Yeah,
where it was just a huge crowd. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Yeah. So how did you come up with this idea? You were over at the Copenhagen Games Collective at the time, right?
Yeah. These days I'm focusing with my friend Niels Dieneken on our studio,
right.
Die Gute Fabrik. But for like a number of years, maybe since I moved here, like 2007, 2008. So I'm based in Copenhagen, Denmark, although I'm originally from America. And I've been real interested in like motion control games.
My plan worked.
And so just making like a bunch of prototypes of like physical video games and motion control games, and like, you know, how do you do that the right way and how do you make that fun? And we had done a bunch of projects, some successful, some not so successful, where we learned a bunch of lessons. And kind of through the years, one of the questions was like, well, can we make a game where people look at each other rather than a screen? All right, so like if you play, I don't know. So I grew up playing a ton of Dance Dance Revolution, which is like a really big touchstone for me. And that game is amazing. You know, people love similar games like Rock Band or Guitar Hero or whatever. But one kind of strange thing about those games is like everyone's huddled around this like screen in the front of the room where everyone's kind of like watching the arrows or like the score or whatever's happening. And I kept going to parties where people were playing Rock Band, and it was like a little weird because it's almost like the social energy is like directed towards this weird altar at the front of the room, and everyone's like zoned in on the screen. And so like we had been working on some kind of weird, simple motion control prototypes. And one of the things we found was like, well, it was really fun, to look at each other for a change and to like move around the room in a more freeform way. So then the question was like, how could you do that in like a really simple and accessible way? We actually worked on this like failed Wii prototype for a while. It was going to be like a wizard dueling game where you like almost like Harry Potter versus Voldemort, where you're like both facing each other with your Wiimote and casting spells. And that's a really long story, and that kind of didn't pan out for a lot of reasons. But taking a lot of the like lessons from that, okay, like what didn't work and like what could we do better? I kind of came up with the idea for this like simpler music-based game, which became Johann Sebastian Joust. It's kind of also inspired by like a number of playground games and like weird party games, like non-digital party games.
Sure.
And so that was like a really big thing once I stopped looking at video games. So instead of being like, let's take Street Fighter, but like make it motion controlled, right? Like that's like that doesn't usually work out because now you're so kind of burdened by like thinking of the game in like a traditional video gamey way. But when I started thinking of like, okay, well, let's take this playground game or this folk game and add a little bit of like multimedia technology, that was like a really useful kind of design trick for me.
Yeah, I mean, what you've created is a pretty incredible thing. Like everybody, I think everybody who has seen it that I've talked to about it, everybody has always said, man, that's a really cool use of the technology. That's a really cool kind of that's a lot cooler than anything anybody like making games for the PlayStation using the Move controller is doing. Like it's you've got this really high fidelity controller and it feels like the motion controls have been played out, and then suddenly you've got this awesome indie game, Joust, where it's like, okay, let's just take away the screen, take more of a minimalist approach, and you created something that is more creative and more engaging and more easily understood. Like you can see what's happening and you can read it almost immediately. And I think that's really, really awesome. And I know,
oh, cool.
I know I had friends of mine who really dislike games, really just don't play video games, and they actually saw us playing it on the stream last year and they're like, oh man, I want to play that. And I actually had to return the controllers after last year's marathon because I couldn't afford that many controllers, so I'm like, you should come to next year's IGG. But yeah, like it was this game is this game is one of the favorites of pretty much anyone who watches IGG, I think. It's continuously hilarious and really entertaining.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. Let me just I want to just say now, like people are always like a little bit confused, like is this game going to come out or whatever.
Yeah.
We're like super desperate to release this game to the public. So there's like man, this is such a crazy long story, and I can't even like talk about all of it. But there's all sorts of like really crazy like legal and technological barriers to. But that's getting worked out. So I think we're gonna have a big announcement in like a week or two.
That is really exciting to hear. It's PlayJS. But on Twitter, right?
Say what?
Your Twitter handle to follow that, PlayJS Joust, correct?
Well, okay, yeah, but the best one is just the Gute Fabrik Twitter account.
Okay, yeah.
Or our website.
So at Gute Fabrik?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
But I just wanted to make it clear, like, man, we super want to get this out to people, and it's not even like we want to get this out so like we can make a bunch of money because it's like a weird game idea, and this isn't going to make millions, but it's just like, yeah, it's been really heartening that people enjoy this game, and we want to, like, do more than just like show it at parties and weird cities and exhibitions and
everything.
stuff.
Yeah.
So like like it's me more than anyone, and it would have been out already if there weren't all these like crazy barriers to doing this stuff. But yeah, I think we kind of like finally came up with like a feasible plan that I think fingers crossed we'll see in like a week or two. But that kind of makes some of this possible, and we'll fingers crossed. So.
Yeah, I mean, Sony alone just those controllers are gonna just spike as soon as people can get a build of this game, I think sales of those controllers are just gonna spike. They're gonna notice.
I don't know. I hope so, man. But yeah, we'll see.
Garrett's just demolishing downstairs right now. So we've got a few more minutes with you. We have another interview coming on the hour. Unfortunately, we got you in late.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry about the delay. Does anybody in the chat have any questions?
There is one. One person wants to know if you've been trying to get this game in the Olympics.
Whoa. If you can make that happen, let me know. I would love that. I don't really have. I don't really have the connections, but yeah, let's do it, man. Does anyone know anyone on the Olympic committee?
I don't know. We'll get the chat on that. I'm sure we can get some other.
Get on it.
So when you are looking for a public release, are you looking to just do it as it is currently as on the Mac connected to the PS3 to the Move controllers, or are you going to try and get it like on the PlayStation?
Okay, I need to be careful what I say here.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, keep.
I would like to bring it to as many platforms as possible and as much hardware as possible. Because the idea is to make it more. Because there's only a certain amount of people who have Macs, only a certain amount of people who have Move controllers. I mean, we're gonna have to start small and steady, but I mean, yeah, part of the deal is we are trying to get it. It would be awesome if we were to get it on consoles and other types of computers. So yeah, I mean that's partly what we're working through.
I almost feel like a mobile version, like an iPhone or an Android version, if they can support 6-device syncing. Like I wouldn't want to use the phone itself for obvious reasons, but if they got the range and the ability to support it, that would be really awesome. Because then you could just take a pair of portable speakers out to the park with you instead of a laptop.
Yeah, you know what? I would kill to do that. I agree with you. That's totally. And part of the problem is it's beyond my technical capability.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So we're hoping to get some sort of funds in where I can hire someone to help me with that.
Yeah,
but
that'd be good.
Like I can program, but I'm more kind of like a designer than like a really hardcore hardware programmer.
Absolutely.
So I mean that's part of the other problem here, which is like there's like some real technical limitations that I can't solve myself. And I'm just some dude in Denmark with like out that much money. I mean, not that I'm like poor, like badly off, but like I can't like pay a programmer or whatever for a few months to like do the stuff for me. So there's been some limitations in like how much I can do, but yeah, again, like I said, I think we have like a plan to kind of get some funds, do this. Again, we'll see. It's all pretty crazy. But yeah, no, I agree with you. That'd be super rad to get controllers like the Move pairing for like small smartphones or computers or something. So yeah, no, for sure, if we can do that, I would like to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, the game idea, just for it's so I don't want to say simple, but it's just like you can get so much out of it. Out of just
It's very elegant.
Yeah, elegant. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite games, and I look forward to it since last year.
Yeah.
Whoa, awesome, man! I'm really glad.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that I do like I have those friends. My parents don't play games, and we had the Move controllers and the computers sitting around after last year's marathon, and they were like, "Hey, can we get on that?"
And you walked in.
They ended up playing it for a couple hours.
And you walked in one day and they were just...
No, it was great. So yeah.
If anyone else wants a round, go on down.
Yeah. So I think we're
between a round and the interview.
We are almost out of time on this interview. Does anybody have any other questions for Doug? No? Anybody in chat? Yeah, I'm sorry that we have to cut it short. We got crazy marathon. Thank you so much. Thank you for making an awesome game. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And thanks for supporting IGG, of course.
Yeah, good luck, guys. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I'll be tuning in and checking up on you guys over the next day. So
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
We have 41 hours to go currently, so we got this.
You got plenty of time to watch it. And
pace yourself, guys. Pace
yeah,
yourself.
we're gonna try to get some more Joust in. Chatters, make sure you can still donate, of course, and you can request a Joust. We're currently eating into what little discretionary time we have because this game is so awesome, and you were willing to come on for an interview. We're happy to do that, but we'd love to get more Joust on. So if the viewers can donate towards it, that would be fantastic. Yeah. So thanks so much, Doug. We will. We'll probably talk to you next year, and we will wait. We will. I don't even can't even words right now. We will. We anticipate the release of the game or the announcement that's coming up shortly. So thanks so much for coming on.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
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 Oh gosh. Doug's such a cool guy.
I'm kind of sad that I missed that interview too, but
Yeah,
this is like,
it's so good.
I can watch it later. I can't play the game later.
Yeah. Johann Sebastian Joust. This is actually like absolutely the #1 game that people talk about after last year. It was just this moment. Could we get Artemis set up on this real quick?
Yeah. I'm gonna go see if I can get my computer on Artemis right now.
No, we already have 4.